Neat stuff. So, in my update video, I talk about using the data from the spreadsheet to come up with a budget list, because one of my number one requests that I've gotten is, hey, what's a budget build? So I used that data and I came up with this budget build. I'll show it in the comments as well, but I'll link it. And this probably isn't even tuned. I just threw this together for the most part, just going off of the idea of 4 bells, 4 shredder, 4 Pixis. So, and it's budget because there's no bridge, and somehow it's still 1. So first, I guess I'll just do Cheerios. I'll just do both videos in one, or both replays in one. Unfortunately, both opponents quit game 1 once I got the lock, which is pretty quick. I mean, I got the lock turn 2 both games. So, I mean, I guess with Opal, if you were able to, shell out for the Opals, you can get a turn 1 lock real quick. So this hand, I think I'm mulligan because I really want a lantern. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I mulligan and I have the lock. I'm like, yeah, I can do this, and I got a brutality, so I'll be okay. I just need to get a second mana source, and that's it. Opponent did do a risky keep here. I mean, they didn't get a white mana for pure steel, but I guess this deck is pretty good, and they figured they'd just be able to pull it out. So get a lantern. See, pure steel paladin on top. That tells me exactly what my opponent's playing. And what's even better is it's not the land that my opponent needs. Top of my deck is the mana I need for that brutality. And I drew a Noxious Revival as well. So, opponent doesn't play a second land, especially not white. That means they're 2 white mana away from playing a pure steel paladin. So I'm like, oh, I just gotta keep my opponent off of white mana. So instead of playing the brutality, I go ahead and start milling first. Yep. I do the Pixis, and unfortunately 3 lands in a row. 3 white mana sources in a row. So pretty good. Runner, runner, runner. And I can't use Noxious Revival yet to put a dead card on top because, one of them's a white mana anyways. So I'm like, alright, well, they got 1 mana now. So if this had been SRAM, they might have been able to win that turn, maybe. So I go ahead and brutality to get a good look at their hand so I can get more information about what I really need to keep them off of. I figured I wouldn't hit anything, but I hit a retract. And then I go to try to continue to keep them off of white mana. And unfortunately there's a Marsh Flats there, so I'm like, well, crap. So I go ahead and put the retract back on top of their library with the Noxious Revival. Stirrings. And I thought a while here because I had a choice of like bell and shredder and needle and like lantern and stuff. And I realized if I get needle, I'll be able to cut off not only the Marsh Flats they're about to draw, but all future Marsh Flats. So it'll be much easier to keep them off of lands. So I grabbed the needle. Name the Marsh Flats. Yeah. And then there's a smallpox on top, so that'll be even better. I'm going to cut them off of land again. It's not going to hurt me a bit. I mean, I'll take 3 damage, but I'll survive. And I can always Noxious Revival that Stirring's back on top, and I'm going to draw whatever the crap I want for the most part here. So, yeah, relatively easy game. That was a quick lock. So, risky keep on my opponent's half, and because of the way this version of Lantern works, like it punishes any risky keeps whatsoever. So, the second one was versus Esper. Again, it was a quit in game 1. The opponent just completely quit out. This is less of a risky keep, I guess. They do have 2 cards that they need white mana for. that main deck surgical is kind of poopy as well. Here, I do not have a lantern, which I am concerned about. But yeah, I kept it anyways because of that stirrings. So, and Inquisition, I'll be able to get a good idea of what my opponent has. I see all this, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to discard souls. So, surgical is kind of poopy, but I'm not too worried about it. And Path and Snare do almost like nothing to this deck. So the main threat here is Monastery Mentor. So I see my opponent is also cut off a white mana, so I grabbed that lantern, and I was just really hoping there wasn't a white mana on top. And sure enough, there's just a Creeping Tar Pit, so I'm okay. Yeah, my opponent goes to grab my stirrings. With the surgical, but it's not going to matter. I don't really want to draw that smallpox, but whatever. I mean, I figure I'll let my opponent Thoughtseize it out of my hand. They got a Spell Snare anyway, so it doesn't matter. And they play the Thoughtseize. But now it's pretty easy to keep my opponent off of white mana with this lot going on. And I'm starting to gain life for a buffer. I'm about to start drawing extra cards with Seagate Wreckage to really solidify the lock. Now here, I don't want my opponent to have Vault because that'll mean they can start attacking with the Creeping Tar Pit. So I go ahead and draw the Seagate Wreckage, draw the Lantern, because that's another way that I can shuffle off. I could have tried to mill myself into something, but I figure if I draw the Lantern, then that's more cards that I could try to use to keep my opponent off the white mana. So I have it both mill first. There's a Gideon on top, which is fantastic for me. So yeah, just drawing a Shredder, keep my opponent off stuff, mill myself, grab that bell. I grab the bell with the Seagate Wreckage, and then I go to draw the Noxious Revival. I figure I'll play the bell, and then when my opponent tries to Inquisition me, in response, I will Noxious Revival for, I don't know, an Inquisition or something. Yeah. Yeah, they go to play Inquisition, and I do that in response, and then in response to that, they quit. So, and so yeah, budget, no bridge lantern. I mean, if you can't afford bridges, I mean, it's not 100%. It's super hard. You still need Inquisitions probably, and you still need Collective Brutalities. But you could start with that and build up, and slowly build Lantern, and it's valid. It works. So thanks for watching, and hopefully it helps out all y'all that are working on a budget. I totally know how it is. When I first built this deck, bridges were $5 a piece. So I think it's unfortunate that the prices that things have gone up, the way the prices have gone up. But I mean, if I could do something about it, I would. But as far as I know, I can't. So yeah, thanks for watching, y'all.